Update. I was an accident, and after years of negligence, I told my family I wished they had terminated me or given me up for adoption. Original post. I was basically an accident. When I was born, my siblings were 16 male, 18 female, 20 female, 23 female, and my parents were both 46. I was never mistreated in my childhood, but I was neglected and my entire family resented me. My parents didn't really think that they would get pregnant again, but here we are. I was never really looked after for by anyone, and basically had to raise myself. No one ever really spent any time with me or played with me or anything when I was a kid. They didn't ever buy anything significant for me, just handed my siblings clothes and things. I realized this as I got older, so I focused on myself. My thought process at the time was that there was something wrong with me because my siblings were loved by them. So if I improved myself and did things for them, maybe then they would accept me and love me. I always got the best grades in school. My father was a football enthusiast and played in high school, but I was a basketball lover. But I still dropped it and took up football just to make him proud. I make sure I did all my chores readily, always kept my room clean, but nothing I did was ever enough for them. Like, for example, if I was first in class, my parents would ask me, why didn't I get a higher score? They ignored the percentile but focused on the percentage, and things like that. My siblings or parents never even bothered to show up for a single game. I was never appreciated for what I was, only detested me for what I wasn't. My siblings also did not allow me to hang out with them at any time at all. We celebrated my father's birthday yesterday. I am 16 today. My siblings did not live with us anymore and my mother had to leave early and would not return till later in the evening. So it was just him and me for the day, so I decided to serve him breakfast in his bed just as he woke up. I cooked and bought him a tie for a present. I know it's not the best present, but I was on a budget. Nothing too extravagant because I want to save as much money as possible for college, but it was definitely a smart one. I also cooked lunch for us and took care of all the chores. The most he could come up with was a pathetic thank you, and it was clear he wanted me to leave him alone, so I did just that. We all went out, siblings included, to a dinner, and the way these would go is that they would all have a good time and I would just sit in a corner. This is the case with almost all family dinners we have ever attended. We went back home and I don't know why. I really don't know what triggered it. But for some reason, I just started crying all of a sudden. Maybe it was them being so happy together. I don't know. And when they asked me what happened, I just blew up at them and told them how I felt about my entire childhood. How they never showed me any kind of love and affection among other things. I don't know exactly what I said, but I do remember I ended it by saying that I wished that they had gotten rid of me if they hate me so much. Or could have given me up for adoption so they could all live their lives without me. My eldest sister started to say something, but I just ran up to my room and closed the door. And went to sleep listening to some Hans Zimmer because they just kept knocking at the door. Early this morning, I went out my window and went to a secluded spot that I often go to, usually to play some guitar or just pace around listening to music or just enjoy the sound of nature. I'm sitting down here right now writing this on my phone at 4:30 a.m. and don't know what to do at all. I'm sorry if I just went out on a rant, but this is the first time that I am able to tell my childhood to anyone. Now, how exactly do I tackle this problem? I have pretty much given up on my family and have spent enough of my time trying to please them. Do I still try to form any kind of bond with them? Do I completely drop them off? What exactly is the best thing to do here? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Wow. This actually got me emotional. I can't imagine your pain. You are doing great in school and will soon be going to college. Do you think you can hold it together until then? Once you move out of college, you are on your own, man. Since you told them how you feel, they will try to make you feel better. If it feels genuine to you, go with it. If not, keep strong. Hold to yourself and keep going. Your life is worth living. You have great potential and you will excel. Try to focus on all that you want to accomplish in life now that you are done trying to please your family. Life gets so much better in college. You may even find that you make friends that become like family. Try to live on campus your first year. Being away will give you and your family time to process, and it may even heal your relationship with them. You'll no longer rely on them and will be able to forge your own path. I'd also encourage you to look into therapy once you get to college. Many campuses will offer a counselor for free. It sounds like you've never had anyone to talk to about this, and a therapist can really help validate everything you are feeling and help you process. Our experiences in early childhood can affect us in so many ways, and will no doubt affect the relationships you form with new people as a young adult. Starting to process what your family put you through as soon as possible will set you up to have healthier relationships outside of your family. Start living for yourself and take back your confidence. Rejoin basketball. Get excited about college by ordering the catalogs and envisioning where you might want to live and study. You can shadow careers, which I recommended doing ASAP. I can't tell you how many times I changed my major or how many people, including myself, wasn't a fan of the day-to-day job and wish they'd chosen something else. Focus on the future because I don't think your family can make up for 16 years, but I've also found that family gets closer when you move out. Thank you, and I have got a major in mind and have already started applying for colleges. I just hope that I can find a decent scholarship because I don't really want to depend on my parents' money. You might also want to look at getting legally emancipated once you are done with high school. Otherwise, the federal financial aid programs will require your parents' income information until you are 25, regardless of whether your parents will contribute. Your student awards are based on the assumption that they will, which means more loan debt that you would have to take on to cover it. Now for the update. First of all, I want to thank everyone for the amount of support that you guys have given. It was really overwhelming, and I can't express in words how much that meant to me. I was reading all the comments and everything till about 11 to 12, then decided to go home to face the family. I arrived home to quite a melancholic environment. As soon as I arrived, the first thing they all did was hug me, which honestly surprised me. This was probably the first time in years they were showing me any kind of affection. They had prepared some food for me, and after I ate, we all had a talk. My oldest nephew, 2 years younger than me, who often reads posts from the sub, saw it and showed it to my sister. They all first of all apologized for the way they treated me. They confirmed that I was an accident and none of them wanted to deal with another baby, and I basically ruined their life plans. They didn't word it this way. They didn't really want to do anything with me, so they just started ignoring me because I never seemed to need anything from them. Their reasoning was that I was always doing great in life. I always did my chores on time, kept my things neat and clean as a kid, always got good grades, never complained about anything, did great in sports, and they just assumed that I never required/wanted anything from them. So they were able to just keep ignoring me and pretend as if I wasn't there basically. They said that this didn't justify their behavior, especially after they read a post. They just wanted to explain their own actions. It just made it easy for them to ignore me. They all asked me to forgive them for alienating me, and they said that they would do their best from now on to make me feel as I was a part of the family. They then wanted to go out and celebrate my birthday, but I was just mentally and physically exhausted. So I just went to sleep, woke up in the evening, and just ended up playing games for the rest of the night and went back to sleep. I don't really know how to feel about this. I thought about it long and hard and decided I'll try to form some kind of bond with them if that's even possible. The one thing I'll do is trying to start to work and live for just myself right now. My priority is getting to college right now, and I'll mainly work towards that. If reconciliation doesn't work out, at least I have a goal and purpose in life to work towards until I get away from here. Thank you so much for helping me and supporting me through all this. If you guys have any further questions, please feel free to ask me, and once again, thank you. Just wanted to send you a huge fierce mom hug. You sound like an incredible and resilient person, and I hope you see your worth. You deserve better. I know you will achieve amazing things. Warmest thoughts and wishes. I wasn't there for your first post, so I just want to say I'm really sorry how things have gone the first 16 years of your life. No child should ever be put in your situation. With them at least admitting their faults, I would heavily suggest you push them to get you some individual, and if you're not comfortable, family therapy. I just want to comment, however, that I really dislike that they gave any sort of reasoning for their behavior past. We were selfish and acted selfishly. Especially when it puts a little of the blame on you. You were just easy to ignore. That is not true no matter how they try and justify it. It doesn't matter how much maintenance you require. A child who is fairly independent and self-sufficient will still get all the love and positive attention they need in a healthy family. The virtue of being your parent should have gotten you the love and attention required. You repeatedly tried to get their attention in a positive way that shouldn't have been needed. Put effort into learning your father's interests, made their birthday special, and many more acts, I'm sure, with no reciprocal acts. It's their own selfishness and only their selfishness that denied you. Please do not take their reasoning comments to heart. What probably ended up happening was your family had a hard look at themselves and thought, holy smokes, how did we let it get this bad? But because they probably don't think they're that bad a person to neglect a child for 16 years, they went with, well, if they truly needed help, we would have given it them. It is rude to say they would have done differently if you had acted differently. It shifts blame from their unacceptable actions to your behavior you did or didn't do. Preach. Of course they blame it all on you. They're still being selfish and not just rude, but so callous. A teen who's remarkably in touch with his feelings finally pours his heart out to them, and all they can do is victim blame. And what if Opie hadn't been the perfect child? I shudder to think how he would have been treated because their love isn't even conditional. Yikes. Honey, I don't know how to say this in a kind way, so I'm going to just rip the band-aid off. I don't think they're sorry, and I don't think anything will change. My parents didn't want me either, but I was fortunate that my paternal grandparents fought for custody and won. I'm 33 now, and my mother hasn't spoken to me for nearly a year. Haven't heard from my father in about 3 years. They go through these phases, my mom especially, where they're so sorry they were cruel and absent. So sorry. They'll change, they'll do anything. But they never do. Apologies without behavior change are worthless. You do not owe them a place in your life just because they are your biological family. You need to decide what you want your life with, or without, them to look like, what behavior changes you want to see from them, and what you're willing to do if they refuse. I'm sorry, honey, but I just wouldn't put much stock in their response here. I'm definitely not going to be hoping for them to come around, and I am mentally preparing myself in case things don't work out. Basically hoping for the best and preparing for the worst, if that makes any sense. I'm not going to be the one to reach out. The ball is in their court, and this time they will be the ones who will have to make a move. Now for the last story. My dad's male 54 affair has ruined my view on my, female 22, entire family. In April 2021, while my sister, female 28, and mother, female 46, were in our home country for my mom's teeth issues, I was staying home alone with my dad, male 54. I have always loved my family. Despite having a weird gut feeling about my dad, I never knew what it was. I trusted him, but I always felt like something was off. And I think it had definitely something to do with my mother always complaining about his wrongdoings from the past. She never mentioned any cheating though. It was always about him sending money to his parents and not helping her raise us. I remember feeling resentful towards my dad for that reason and hoping they would separate. But she hadn't left him. Because according to her, he is the best father ever, and we're lucky to have a dad like him. But she would still very regularly talk bad about him to us, and tell us she doesn't care how my dad lives his life because she is independent or whatever. Anyways, back to the story. My mom and sister were in sad home country because of my mom's teeth. She got all her teeth removed. She had gum recession, and would have to go back in July to get new teeth. One day, while my dad and I were home, I was cleaning the kitchen and heard him talking on the phone on the balcony. I heard him and was curious who he was talking to because it sounded like an apology to someone. And I was thinking some family member asking him for money again. But then he was saying things like, "Of course I will introduce my children to you. My youngest, me, will finish university this year, so until then I have to financially support her. But I want a life with you. I also want to meet your children. I want to finally live my life the way I want to. I want to live with you because we share the same views on life. We're soulmates." I was absolutely stunned when I heard these things. I knew my dad wasn't a great partner, but I really never guessed that he would actually cheat on my mom. I had no idea what to do. I just couldn't confront him at that moment. I decided to talk to my sister about it when they were back. 2 days after that happened, my mom and sister came back and my mom was in the worst mental state I have ever seen her in. She had all of her teeth removed and the denture they made for her didn't fit her, but she had to travel back, so that meant she had to stay without teeth until July. She felt extremely ugly. Her confidence and self-esteem were non-existent. I told my sister about my dad having an affair, and I expected her to be shocked about it, but she seemed so normal. She later told me that since she was a kid, my dad always had multiple different girlfriends. When she was 6 years old, he even introduced her to one of his girlfriends and continued to have affairs. The last one she knew about was in 2012. After that, she moved out anyways. Apparently, my mom knew about them all and they would argue, but she would never leave. I was so shocked. I have lived my entire life not knowing any of that. I asked her why she never told me, and she said it was because I was young. I told her I wanted to tell mom about it, but she told me we should wait until she gets her teeth done because she really wouldn't be able to deal with it. I said alright, and then suddenly my dad is cheering her up, making her feel good about herself, and they're more loving than they were before. So we decided to drop it. After that, I moved out. It honestly was the best time of my life. I hate living at home. I can't stand it. I can't think of anything else but that. I am temporarily back home, but I will move out again to do my master's and work. Anything my dad does pisses me off. I hate whenever my mom talks good about him. I feel so betrayed because she always preaches independence and how men ain't it, and talks bad about almost everybody's relationship. And I also can't believe how my sister can still be so normal to my dad and act like nothing ever happened. I feel so gaslit and it is driving me crazy. I just don't know how to deal with this, but I think when I am away from them, I will feel better again. I would love advice from people who have been through something similar. Now for the advice. I am so sorry he is like this. This is a lot and probably above this form's ability level. Can you get to a therapist? It will help to have someone to talk all this out with who is also a pro. I think a therapist might really be the way to go. I've been thinking about it for some time but never got to do it. If she is aware of the affairs and says she doesn't care how my dad lives his life because she is independent or whatever, and if he is being supportive and loving to her when she needs it the most, maybe this is just a relationship they have worked out between themselves. Now is probably not the best time to raise it with your mom, but have you tried talking about it with your dad? I don't think I can have this conversation with him honestly. Back when I was younger, my sister talked to him about it apparently, but he just cried in front of her and told her he is sorry and would not do it again. Am I the a-hole for calling the police on my niece who stole my car? I, 46 female, live on a farm with my husband and 2 kids. My brother Dwayne, 38, has a daughter. We'll call her Emma, 15. My brother and his wife have always been very quick to compliment me on the behavior of my children. Angela, my sister-in-law, confides in me about Emma's troubles. Emma is very reckless, shoplifts, drinks, has an old boyfriend, and gets into fights at school. She's also constantly suspended in and out of school. Over the summer, Emma had a run-in with the law, and they were told that if she didn't straighten up her act that she would end up in prison. They were suggested and tried therapy, but Emma never would participate. Dwayne asked me if I would take Emma and teach her some responsibility. But the arrangement was that I would take Emma for the final month of summer, enroll her in school here, and keep her for the first semester. If all went well, Emma was welcome to stay with us. Otherwise, other options would be explored, those of which are unknown to me. Emma did not do well all through July. Her boyfriend drove over to visit her to my dismay. I tried to make him leave, but it caused some backlash, so I figured I would set visitation then wean her time from him more and more. Then I caught her smoking one of those electronic cigarettes, twice. She would never do any of the work asked, would talk back, steal food, break things, and would be rude to my children. All of that could be dealt with. I knew that once school came around, she needed to be more disciplined. So one morning we got into an argument because I told her I was chaining up the fridge, and that she better act right, or else she will be forced to scavenge for her food around the farm and cook it herself. If she doesn't want to contribute, she gets nothing the household has worked for. She was livid, throwing stuff, stomping her feet, and making rude gestures. My son and I left to go to tend to the animals' morning duties, and told her that she better catch up to get some chicken tonight or start preparing to pick some vegetables for herself. After an hour of work, I sent my son back home to get me a change of pants due to a fall. He came back asking me if Dad had taken my car. We quickly realized Emma had stolen my car. Not only that, but she did not have a license, only a permit. I did what any reasonable person would do in this situation and called the police. They found her 2 hours later and arrested her, saying she was to be charged with a misdemeanor for driving without a license and, I believe, joyriding. My brother and his wife are furious with me. They told me she steals our cars all the time and always brings them back, which that would have been good information for me to know beforehand. My family siding with them that calling the police when knowing she would be arrested was an a-hole move. Just to tack this on so I don't have to reiterate this to everyone who comments about the fridge bit. That was more or less an empty threat. If it came to it though, I can't say I would have totally ruled that out as crossing the line. Also, about stealing food, part of what I do is I bake and sell what I make at a farmer's market nearby. She would take cakes, pies, and other pastries I would make and eat them herself. I would make some little versions for the kids, but she would take the whole portion meant for sale and eat it herself, and throw out the extra. She would throw away 3/4 of a cake. Please note we live on a vegetable farm. She has access to vegetables and fruits. When I say scavenge, I mean go outside and pick something to eat and cook. I'm not denying her food. Now for the top comments. Not day-hole at all. She steals our cars all the time and always brings them back. Well, now we know where she learned all this from. If they expected you, her aunt, to just brush off her stealing your car, imagine what they let her get away with. We sent her to live with you because what we're doing isn't working. But how dare you do anything differently from what we were doing? LMAO. Exactly. They just wanted to be rid of her. Stupid parents. Not Daehong. She stole your car. She assaulted your son. I don't know how I feel about chaining up the fridge. That seems borderline abusive, but as for everything else, I'm on your side. Lock her up. That was more or less an empty threat. If it came to it though, I can't say I would have totally ruled that out as crossing the line. Send her back. She doesn't respect your rules or your authority, and you don't realize it now, but having there is definitely impacting your children negatively. Also, her parents and your family sounds ungrateful. Send her back. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving up my bed for my boyfriend's daughter? My boyfriend has 3 kids, 12 female, 7 female, 5 female. A wildfire broke out by their house and the neighborhood had to evacuate, so I told my boyfriend to bring his kids to my apartment. I've known his kids for months and they're all great kids, but they're a bit spoiled. My boyfriend's oldest daughter has health issues and they were at a hospital getting her treatments when the fire broke out. The younger 2 were at home with their nanny when the fire broke out, so the nanny took the kids straight to my place and my boyfriend joined us an hour or so later. My boyfriend came in carrying his oldest because she was asleep and he didn't want to wake her up. He asked where he could put her down, so I showed him to the room that I had planned on all of the kids and the nanny sharing. Nanny's a live-in nanny, and I guess she didn't have anywhere else to go. Room has 2 bunk beds, so everyone has their own bed. But he said he didn't want her to be in the same room as her siblings because she was going to need a lot of rest, and he doesn't want them to bother her. I asked where I was supposed to put her, and he suggested my room. I asked if he meant only for a few hours, and he said no, the whole night. I asked where we were supposed to sleep, and he said we can sleep on a pull-out couch. I said I wasn't giving up my room so his 12-year-old can have her own room, and he left with the kids and Nanny. Now he's saying he needs to rethink this relationship because I wouldn't sleep on my couch for one night to let his daughter rest without her siblings waking her up and bothering her. No a-holes here. Parenting is a tough topic to broach. Personally, I think a lot of parents cuddle their children beyond belief. That said, it's their choice. This sounds like it may just be a compatibility issue. Personally, I'd side with you. But I know a lot of parents that would be in this camp of doing anything for the children for even the smallest of things. I'm also leaning towards no a-holes here, but want to know what health issue the child has and what treatment she had received. That could explain the cuddling and could mean there was a legitimate need to have her rest undisturbed. She has some chronic illnesses and has to go to the hospital for treatments every couple weeks. Could be a lot of things, but that sounds like maybe IVIG or a biological. Both will wipe you right the heck out and leave you knocked on your butt for the rest of the day and the whole next day. And both younger kids are old enough to be told to keep quiet and leave the room if they wake up so they don't disturb their sister. So you graciously opened your home to 5 extra people at a moment's notice, providing a bed to everyone, but if you don't give up yours, it wasn't enough? I realized the oldest was sick, but the other children did not have to be in the bedroom if they were not sleeping, and there was a nanny there to ensure they were kept away from the older child. To me, it looks like a glimpse into your future where you will be expected to sacrifice anything you feel his children should be entitled to, regardless whether it is your private property or not. Just my honest opinion, not the whole. This is exactly what I thought. She gives them a place. That's not good enough. Like, dude, your kids are old enough to leave the room and stay out when they wake. What is the nanny for, if she's not helping keep them away? You can't expect someone that was nice enough to give them a place to go to give up their own bed and comfort to please you, or cater to your child. Also, people keep saying it's only one night, but is it? They got evacuated and no guarantees it'll be safe tomorrow, or for the next week, or longer. The kid is still going to be chronically ill tomorrow, and the next day and the day after that. Will boyfriend decide, well, actually she's more comfortable in your bed. We can stay in the futon. She's housing them in a time of need. They should be grateful. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to bring my nanny family's baby back home when they told me to? I, 27 female, have been a nanny for the same family for about 6 months now. It's a 1-year-old baby girl and she's the sweetest baby ever. I thought the family was really nice and that we had a good working relationship. Until yesterday. I always take the baby on walks, either around the neighborhood or we would walk down to the school shopping center where they have a little fountain and a bubble tea shop we like to hang out at. There's toys and games and she always has fun there. We walked down to the bubble tea shop yesterday and we're playing as usual. We're usually out for like an hour when it started raining. It drizzled a bit, so we went inside the shop to wait it out before walking back. And then it started pouring, like storming. It was awful and it rained for so long. I texted the mom saying, "Hey, it's raining really bad. So we're just going to wait it out, but we're at the bubble tea shop." She told me it was almost the baby's nap time and that I needed to head home now like usual. I asked her if she had looked out the window to see how bad it was raining, and she said, "Yes, the baby has a cover for their stroller. She will be fine. Please head back." I told her baby has a cover, but I don't have an umbrella or jacket and I'll get soaked and will have to finish out my shift soaking wet. I asked if she or her husband could just come pick us up, and she said it's my job to do what she says. I told her I was not walking back in the rain. After an hour, yes, it kept raining, her husband came and picked us up, apologizing, saying he was sleeping and didn't know we were out here in the rain. When we got back, Mom screamed at me, saying how dare I not bring her baby home when she told me to, and accused me of kidnapping. Dad said she was being dramatic but didn't really do much. She threatened to fire me and told me not to come in today and that we will discuss everything Monday. Was I wrong for not coming back? It was pouring. I didn't want to have to sit in a soaked clothes for hours. My hair would get ruined. I didn't want to get sick. Like, there's so many reasons I didn't want to be in the pouring rain. Plus, it didn't feel that safe. I guess if I'm wrong, I'll apologize Monday, but my boyfriend said she's being unreasonable and can't fire me for that. I feel like I should quit. I don't know. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Boyfriend says she can't fire me for that because of my contract. She has to give me notice 6 weeks if she doesn't want me to work for her anymore, or else she has to pay me for the time I'm missing. I also did check the weather, but it said it was raining way later that night. The sun was shining when we left. Mom also asks me to take her on these walks daily. I enjoy them, but a lot of comments keep talking about these walks as if they're for me. And yes, it was a thunderstorm. Now for the top comments. Not today, home. I bet should have complained if you or the baby got sick from being out in the cold/rain. You made a smart decision. That kind of rain sounds like a thunderstorm. Aren't most baby buggies aluminum? Yes, let me roll this lightning rod home. Or maybe my mom's don't take a bath or use the phone during a thunderstorm paranoia rubbed off on me. Not today, whole, but I wouldn't want to keep working for her after that. Threatening/accusing you of kidnapping could have serious consequences. It's scary how easily she went there. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm going to talk to the agency because there's a mistreatment clause in my contract. When you talk to the agency, use the terms shelter in place due to inclement weather for the safety of you and the child. Not today, home. Or maybe everyone sucks here? Her reaction was over the line and I would not continue to work for someone who screamed at me and accused me of a crime. I agree that you should contact the agency and quit. But was it like obviously supposed to rain that day? Are they really strict on nap time? Is baby difficult if she gets off schedule? If it rained for an hour plus, seems like that would have been something you'd have seen on the radar. If your poor planning is going to ruin the rest of their day with baby being off schedule, I can see how that would be frustrating for them. And sounds like the dad was able to pick you up. But expecting them to stop work and drive again because of poor planning would be even more frustrating. Dad was sleeping, not working, lol. And she stops working to go to hair appointments and to the gym. So I didn't think picking us up would be bad. I had no idea it was going to rain. Like, it started as sun showers, then got crazy. It wasn't supposed to rain until later that night. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for wanting to serve my ex papers for full custody and child support for my daughter now that he has a new baby? I, 31 female, have a wonderful 7-year-old daughter I would go to the moon and back for and have been supporting her as a single parent. My ex, 31 male, hasn't really been in her life since we split when she was 2.5. He hasn't paid child support for the last 4 years and has sporadically visited her at his parents' home when she visits. He says he will visit her while hyping her up and then not show up only to give BS excuses on why he never showed up, leaving her devastated and upset that he didn't spend time with her. He has blamed me for everything under the sun, which I can prove to not be true. For example, he blames me for not calling him so he can video chat with her on my days off, when he doesn't even attempt to try in the first place on his days off. He even stated he couldn't pay child support because he was rebuilding his car. My ex had seen multiple girls in the past 4 years, but has been seeing his current girlfriend for about a year at this point, and she has a 3-year-old daughter. He shunted our daughter to be his girlfriend's daughter's father, doing father/daughter activities like going to the pumpkin patch, holidays, and spending time with the 3-year-old. He forgot his own daughter's birthday for 2 years in a row and possibly for a third time this year. Now, his family and I heard a rumor that the girlfriend was pregnant 3 to 4 months ago. His parents wanted to be in the baby's life, and I was ecstatic that my daughter would have a half-sibling since I don't want more kids. He vehemently denied she was pregnant, and we left the subject alone. Well, about 10 minutes before I started my shift, I was told and shown that my ex's girlfriend had their baby girl that morning. I was livid. He had lied to all of us that the baby was coming and severed whatever trust with him we had left. I started looking at family attorneys in my city because I know this will get messy. He wants parental rights without having to lift a finger or pay child support, while I want full custody since our daughter lives with me full-time. Before people ask, no, he's not in our daughter's life unless he wants others to see he's being a good dad. The last time he visited her, she didn't recognize him at all. Yes, I have filed for child support several times in the past, only for them to die in court because he didn't want to sign the paperwork. I'm at my wit's end with him. I vented to a couple of close friends and close coworkers about this, and the majority are saying I'm the a-hole because I should be excited for the new baby, and that with a new baby, he won't have the funds for child support. Am I the a-hole if I go through with getting a family attorney and serving him papers while he's caring for a newborn? Not the a-hole. I'm surprised you haven't already served him papers. Exactly. Also, the fact that he has a new child doesn't take away from the fact he's manipulating his eldest by being sporadic. It is only turning up occasionally to confuse her little soul and for a picture-perfect dad image. He's being a monster to her, and honestly, you're the a-hole OP just for leaving him the power to crush your little girl. He's not a father, let alone a dad. At most, he's a sperm donor that oversteps boundaries. Get your daughter out of that OP. Not the a-hole, but you should have done this from the very beginning. You need to retain an attorney now, and you need to remove yourself emotionally from him. His girlfriends, kids, whatever are none of your business. Your only focus needs to be on what's right for your daughter, or you're trapping yourself emotionally in a relationship with him when it literally doesn't exist. I'm not emotionally invested in him, especially with him cheating on me while I was pregnant and when she was 6 months old. He didn't come clean about until he ended our engagement.